Alright, guys. Okay. Hear me out. Hear me out, okay? I know I just went off. Right? I know. But I noticed something. Okay? I noticed that because of the disconnects, it literally split the stream into like 3 different things. And like, I can't. And like, it just went all haywire. So, I'll tell you what I did. Okay? I lowered the bitrate by like 2,000. So, like, you still get good quality. You still get great quality. And everything else. But, you know, it puts less pressure on my internet. Like I said, I don't know if it was like a Twitch issue or what was going on. But because that last episode of RCW was ruined, essentially by disconnects, by all that crap, there's nothing I can do when it comes to that editing process to edit it and make it look good. So I'll tell you what I did. I redid the card. I didn't do the same card that I just did a few minutes ago. I redid everything. So we're gonna just act like that episode didn't happen, okay? We're gonna start brand new. And hopefully with the bitrate, with the new bitrate, it doesn't crap the bed. And everything else. And it takes the load off of my computer. I adjusted some settings around. So hopefully we won't have any problems. Knock on wood. So the new card that I prepared for you guys today, because of the stupid disconnects, because of the problems that we were having, we have Young Sin and Bryce Blackwell. So consider this a redo, guys. I want to give the best content out to you guys, and I don't feel confident in what we experienced today. And I want to make sure that you guys get the content that you came here for, without the disconnects, without all the bullshit, without all that. And we're going to do it. So let's get right into it. We're going to do it. We're going to do this. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. We're going to do it on my terms, and we're going to do it right. Twitch has already screwed us over. Let's have that not happen again. We got Young Sin. Consider this a redo, an impromptu redo. We got Young Sin and Brian Outlaw. Young Sin coming out with Brian Outlaw, that is. He's got demons. And we all got them, and we all deal with them in mysterious ways. But Young Sin is looking to take on a rival of his in Bryce Blackwell. Like I said, think of this as a redo, guys. Think of it as a redo. Sometimes you gotta play around with technology to get it to work the way you want it to. And hopefully today we don't experience any issues. We don't experience any disconnects or anything like that. Because I would hate to see that. You hate to see it. You know, when everything's going on, you hate to see all the BS that goes on. So hopefully we get something good out of this show, guys. Because I would hate to have something bad happen. And that's what happened last stream when we tried to do this. But we're gonna do this one way or the other. And I promise you that we're gonna get something good for you guys today. And I greatly apologize for all the disconnects and all the issues that we had last stream a couple moments ago when we tried to do this. I've never had that happen before, like 2 or 3 times in one thing. But I adjust some settings around, so hopefully we won't have any issues this time. So we have Bryce Blackwell and Young Sin taking it off here. And Bryce Blackwell hammering away on Young Sin to start this one off. Now Bryce Blackwell, like I mentioned, huge rivalry of the Outlaws. Huge rivalry with Young Sin. Simply, I think it's just because the Blackwells exist that Young Sin and the Outlaws do not appreciate what the Blackwells have been doing in the wrestling industry. With a biased executive advisor. Biased GM. As Young Sin looks to take out all of his anger here on Bryce Blackwell. And trust me guys, even though I had a lot of energy last stream, my energy has been tuned up to 20 because honestly, I feel like I failed you guys. I don't want to do that. I don't want to fail you guys. I want to give you guys the content that you came for. And that is Young Sin, Bryce Blackwell, and some amazing RCW content. I want you guys to have some amazing content to look forward to. And not that last stream wasn't amazing, but because of the disconnects and everything else, it felt like I was failing you guys as a content creator, and I don't want to do that. I want you guys to have great content to watch and everything. As we have Young Sin with the powerbomb on Bryce Blackwell. As Young Sin looks to get rid of Bryce Blackwell very quickly here. As Young Sin with the heads in bed on Bryce Blackwell to get the win over Bryce, and a kick out at 2.5. And Young Sin is taking care of Bryce Blackwell. As Young Sin looking for the sinister switch on Bryce Blackwell. 1, 2, and Bryce kicked out at 2.5 again. Young Sin has got to do more than that to take Bryce down. Young Sin absolutely mauling Bryce Blackwell. Sometimes you got to do a couple of rewrites. Sometimes life comes at you fast sometimes. And technology doesn't always work the way you want it to, so you got to work around it. And the mouth kick. The kick to the mouth on Young Sin. 1, 2. Bryce quickly turns it around and gets the win over Young Sin. Just like that, one kick to the mouth, and Bryce Blackwell finds himself in the victory column. Wow! Bryce Blackwell got rid of Young Sin so quickly. As our next match, we have Whitney White versus Rosemary. We're moving real quick through these matches here. We're moving real quick. Want to give you guys this good content. More than anything. And I feel so bad for having all the disconnects that we had. As Bryce Blackwell makes quick work of Young Sin. As we have Whitney White taking on the Demon Assassin Rosemary. Like I said, new card. Completely new card here. As it looked like Bryce Blackwell in that match was absolutely going to get squashed by Young Sin. But that wasn't the case. And it appears so far, we're about 15 minutes into the stream, and it appears so far that we've had no issues. So I'll knock on wood again. But, you know, I want to make sure that we have, you know, no issues here. I want to give you guys the content that you came here for. As Whitney White will take on Rosemary. Let's get it. As we have Whitney White coming out here. Like I said, consider this. Consider this a redo. I want to make sure that this goes as smooth as possible. As we have Whitney White. Coming out here, we got Whitney White as she's looking to take on Rosemary. With that pyro going off, let's get to Rosemary's entrance here. It's the Demon Assassin. Makes her presence known here. Now Rosemary, she's got a bone to pick with Luna Outlaw. As Luna Outlaw was red wedding through the announce table. And Luna Outlaw used Rosemary's own finisher to beat her. On a previous episode of RCW, and Rosemary, as creepy as she is, you can't deny her expertise in the mind games of professional wrestling. Let's get this match underway, folks, as Rosemary makes her way inside the ring. Whitney White and Rosemary here in this RCW redo. Here we go. Whitney White taking down Rosemary. And what a right hand to Rosemary here. Like I said, I want to give you guys the best content possible, and I can't do that when we got like disconnection issues and all that good stuff. You know, I want to give you guys amazing content. And yes, I know it's not my fault. I know Twitch can sometimes be Twitch, but I want to make sure that you guys get some good quality wrestling matches here. Count of 5 here. Reversal from Whitney. As both ladies get back in the ring here. Now Rosemary tosses Whitney White into the corner there. Now boot right to the face. That's definitely got to mess up that face paint. The crazy ass face paint from Whitney White. These two battling each other as Whitney White looking to make Rosemary fall asleep. But Rosemary able to use the ropes to easily break out of it. And now Rosemary with a neck breaker to send Whitney down. Now Rosemary looking right at Luna as she mounts Whitney with those right hands. Now looking to stomp her perhaps. Oh, what a rake to the eyes referee didn't see. Rosemary firing back though, trying for a clothesline. But Whitney ducked out of the way. That choke to Rosemary. That might be an illegal choke there. Referee's got to check that one out. And a suplex to Rosemary as Whitney White continues the onslaught of offense. Here against the Demon Assassin, tries to run in but is met with an elbow. Now Rosemary again tossing Whitney around. But Whitney, she laughs. In the face of danger, she laughs. In pain, oh, but she missed. She missed that elbow again, misconnected with that elbow. And that leads to Whitney taking over. Whitney again taking over here against Rosemary. As the mandible claw on the Demon Assassin. Looking to get the Demon Assassin to tap out real quick. But Whitney White unable to fully secure it as Rosemary breaks out of that submission predicament. And a spear to Whitney White out of nowhere. Just like that, a spear. As the referee is distracted there by Luna, but that doesn't really help in Whitney's case as Whitney kicks out. Not even a 1 count there. Oh, but Rosemary though lifts up Whitney into the red wedding on Whitney White. Rosemary using the red wedding just like that on Whitney White, and Rosemary gets the victory. Rosemary just like that gets the victory. As I thought Luna Outlaw was going to distract Rosemary there, but Rosemary ends up taking the victory away. And just like that, we're already through 2 matches, folks. That's insane. As we have Zero and Kenny Omega here. Zero and Kenny Omega. Now Zero turned over a new leaf after returning to RCW and attacking Cedric Alexander after his win. And Kenny Omega almost beat Drew McIntyre. Keyword is almost. He pulled out all the stops to try and beat the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. But unfortunately for him, even Jon Moxley couldn't help him out. As Zero looks to take on Kenny Omega here. Now Zero coming out here, lifting his arm in the air, getting ready for Kenny Omega. The former RCW World Champion is ready. As we get this match underway, folks, as we have Kenny Omega making his way to the ring. There he is, Kenny Omega. The one-winged angel, the best bout machine, Kenny Omega. Are you ready for this? Like his entrance theme song says, and I doubt anybody is. But Drew McIntyre certainly was. But he can't be thinking about that right now. He's got to be thinking about Zero, his opponent here tonight. There's a knee right to the face of Kenny Omega, and Zero just firing on all cylinders, trying to fire those strikes right off. And now Kenny gets met, trying for a belly-to-belly. Count of 9. 10, and we are seeing here just how much Kenny wants this here. Now Kenny Omega with a gut wrench here. Kenny Omega with a gut wrench into a powerbomb combination there. Now looking to get the pin over Zero, but Zero with a kick out. Could have used the ropes there, but decided against it. Now Kenny Omega trying to work away here on Zero. Zero fights Kenny off. Back and forth contest here between the best bout machine and Zero. Zero pushes him away. Bitter cold there. Bitter cold on Kenny Omega. A knee strike right to the side of the head and a kick out at 1. My God. A kick out at 1. Not 2. 1. As Kenny Omega continues to fight back here, Kenny Omega drops Zero right on his knee. This is exactly what Kenny needs. He needs this victory. Not just morally, but in the rankings for RCW. He needs this. As Kenny Omega's looking to finish Zero here with a one-winged angel. Looking to turn it around. Got him in the electric chair. One-winged angel on Zero. 1, 2, no! Not even a 2 count. I spoke too soon. Zero kicked out at 1. Now Zero Zero now just throwing everything he can, and that elbow busted him wide open there, bleeding. It's definitely gonna stain his mask. German suplex from Kenny Omega. What a German suplex from Kenny Omega. And this match has gone by fairly quickly, and a count of 1 and a kick out. I want to chop right to the chest of Kenny Omega there, and a leg drop to Kenny Omega. Now looking for bitter cold again. What a knee right to the side of the head of Kenny Omega. Going for the cover here. 1, 2. No, not even 1. Not even 2 yet. I'm speaking way too soon here. I thought that was a 2 count. I think Zero's getting frustrated here. I would be too. Not even a 2 count. He's not even selling any of his moves here. As Kenny Omega again drops Zero on his head. 1. No. You kick out of my finisher at 1. I'll kick out of yours. As Kenny Omega and Zero continue to fight each other here. And oh, again with that powerbomb. Gut wrench powerbomb combination. Uh-oh, Kenny Omega now. We saw him do this to Drew McIntyre. Kenny, no, 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 no. Kenny, suplex to the outside to Zero. Deja vu there, suplex to the outside. We saw that exact same thing last episode on RCW, except Drew McIntyre was on the receiving end. But that didn't seem to phase Zero at all. Count of 4 here. These two are just fighting it out here on the outside. Oh, and a right hand to Kenny Omega with a right hand to Zero, and a couple of hands here. These two are just going back and forth. Now, reverse Rana there from Zero. Oh, please don't tell me he's going to take this win via countout. As Kenny starts to stir here. He's saying, come on. Count of 13 here. As Kenny finds himself back in the ring, but he's met with a bitter cold. And now Zero looking to end it with zero tolerance on Kenny Omega. Zero tolerance on Kenny Omega. 1, 2, 3, and Zero takes care of Kenny. He waited all of that time. And now Kenny continues his downward spiral as Zero gets the victory here. As we move quickly to our next match, folks. As we have Tony Storm versus Chris Statlander. Now, like I had mentioned, Kenny Omega is now in this downward spiral. He doesn't, like, for some reason, that match, that grueling match with Drew McIntyre had changed Kenny Omega. Bleeding profusely he was in that match. Claymore kick after Claymore kick, and he just wouldn't go down. And I don't think his mind was in the right place tonight. I don't think his mind was in the right place at all. But nonetheless, we move on to our next match as Toni Storm takes on the Galaxy's greatest alien in Chris Statlander. Now, Toni Storm had the chance to become the #1 contender for Ariel's Women's Championship, the RCW Women's Championship that is, but she was unable to, as that was taken by Luna. And that should be a very interesting match heading into RCW Freefall there in Toronto. As we have Toni Storm and Chris Statlander. Let's get it underway. As we have Toni Storm making her way out here first. Toni Storm. The quickness of Toni Storm, that's definitely going to come in handy here in this match. As you got quite the powerhouse, quite the power of Chris Statlander. But will it be Toni time this time? Truth be told, any time can be Toni time as Toni Storm gets ready here against this woman. Chris Statlander. Galaxy's greatest alien. Now, I don't know much about her language. Whatever the booping, the alienness, intellect, whatever. I don't know much about it, but I do know that Chris Statlander is a force to be reckoned with, both here on Earth and on other planets. As Toni Storm and Chris Statlander, here we go. Now Toni Storm with a big boot on Chris Statlander here. Now if I were Toni Storm, I'd keep Chris Statlander grounded. Keep her from having to do anything too powerful. Wear her down. There's a leg drop there from Toni Storm. Now Toni Storm with the Irish whip to the corner. Now Toni Storm has Chris Statlander in the corner with the chop there. And Toni Storm has yet to take on any piece of offense here from Chris Statlander. But Chris Statlander coming back with a DDT of her own into a cover here. Referee got to get in position and a count of 1. Chris Statlander got to find a way in those alien tricks, in that alien brain of hers, to cancel Toni time. And now a moonsault from Chris Statlander. The acrobatic ability of someone of her power. Yes, Kirby, I am back. I am back. See, what happened is the last stream got split. The last stream, because of the multiple disconnects, it had split it into 3 videos, right? So it had split it into 3 videos, and normally, after the stream, I usually download my stream, edit it, and then get ready to put it on YouTube the next day after it airs. But because of the disconnects, there's no way I'm gonna be able to, like, edit all of those 3 videos into, like, one thing, because it's not gonna make sense. It's just gonna be weird, because then, like, the stream cut me off mid-sentence, and then when it reconnected, it was being all weird today. I don't know what was going on. So rather than have it go to waste, I thought, why not redo the card, or redo a completely different card here, and give proper wrestling content to you guys. Because I can't do... Because in good confidence, like, I don't want that to happen where, where a good stream like that gets ruined by, connection errors, as a German suplex there to Chris Statlander. And now Toni Storm looking to finish Chris Statlander here. Looking to finish Chris Statlander with dragging her head right on the back of the knee there. Looking to send her back to her galaxy here, and a kick out at 2.5 from Chris Statlander. Toni Storm looking to pull out all the stops here, and she's going to have to. Against someone like the galaxy's greatest in Chris Statlander. But now Chris Statlander firing back on all cylinders here. With a couple of shots in the turnbuckle. Face first goes Toni Storm. Now into the cover goes Chris Statlander, but a kick out quickly from Toni Storm. Now working on the arm of Toni Storm here, trying to possibly manipulate it there to further on in this match. Is now Chris Statlander trying to use that power advantage. Trying to use every fiber in her being right now to find a way back into this. And she keeps driving the knee right into the back of Toni Storm. Very wise there. It's an Irish whip now. Chris Statlander, what a power slam there. What a power slam from the Galaxy's greatest. Now Chris Statlander drops Toni Storm. Now lifting her up. Now look at the strength of Chris Statlander. And she props Toni Storm on the rope there. Oh, what's she going for here? Oh no, not this. The Big Bang Theory. 1, 2, and Toni Storm with the kick out at 2.5. Toni Storm had the wherewithal to kick out of the Big Bang Theory. And we are still continuing here, as Toni time is not over yet. And Toni Storm got a second win. Toni Storm now firing back on Chris Statlander, and a kick right to the back of the leg of Chris. And now Toni Storm has Chris Statlander right where she wants her here in a German suplex, using every fiber of the adrenaline rush that must be going through her right now. I don't know how is she surviving all of this. It's definitely adrenaline rush. We've all had that before. That inner strength as Toni Storm drops Chris Statlander on the back of her knee. 1, 2, and now Chris kicks out at 2.5 again. Chris kicked out at 2.5, and this match still continues, folks, as Chris Statlander is not going to go down like that. Might I mention, it is the debut of Chris Statlander. I believe she's never debuted here, never had a match here in RCW, so this is really good, impressive work here from Chris Statlander. It's now Toni Storm. Oh, the disrespect there to the Galaxy's greatest in Chris Statlander. But oh, that may come back to bite her though. As a body slam there from Chris Statlander. Using that strength, that alien strength, but a kick out at 1. And now Chris is looking to do something dangerous here. Chris working on the neck of Toni Storm. And Chris is coming back with every fiber of her being here. And she turns it around into another moonsault. Another moonsault from Chris Statlander. And now Chris turning it around and dropping her right where she stands here. And Toni Storm is in trouble, but a kick out at 1 again. Chris Statlander cannot believe what she's seeing here. And now Chris Statlander lifting her up for that powerbomb. Now Statlander tried to go for the middle rope moonsault, but miscalculated where Toni Storm was inside the ring. And now again going after that neck. As Toni Storm reversed the Big Bang Theory. She reversed the Big Bang Theory and now drops Chris again. 1, 2, and Chris again kicked out. Toni Storm is wondering what the hell she needs to do right now to get Chris to stay down. Chris with another DDT into a pin combination. 1. No. Again. Toni Storm and Chris. Man, what a match. And now looking to work on that neck again. Going after it again is Chris Statlander. 1, 2, and Toni again with the kick out. Again, these ladies proving why they deserve to be here, why they are on the RCW roster. And Chris Statlander trying to go for that powerbomb. Looking for that crucifix powerbomb, but Toni turns it around. Toni with a kick. And now Toni with a German suplex again. As she looks to beat Chris here. Again. Dropping her. 1, 2, 3. And it is Toni time again. As Toni Storm defeats Chris Statlander. But what a debut for Chris nonetheless. And I guarantee this isn't the last time we have seen Toni Storm and Chris Statlander meet one-on-one. But Toni Storm proved to Chris Statlander that it is my time, it is Toni time, as we move on to our next match, folks. As we have our main event of the evening, Keith Lee versus Braun Strowman. Now Keith Lee has had a couple run-ins with Tommaso Ciampa. But now he looks to turn his sights on a bigger man, a definitely bigger man in Braun Strowman. The monster among men that is. We will see how Keith Lee fares in this match here. Maybe Keith Lee's agileness, maybe his quickness can help with the lack of strength compared to Braun Strowman. But we'll find out here in just a few moments. As it is Keith Lee coming out here first. You are going to have to bask in his glory. Keith Lee. Bask in it. I mean, you gotta be pretty damn cool to rap your own entrance music as Keith Lee comes out here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this little redo stream here. Again, I apologize for last stream with all the disconnects we had, but it looks like we are completely fine now under new bitrate. I think from now on, this will be the bitrate setting that we decide to go with. Sometimes you gotta find new ways of doing things. As Keith Lee gets ready for this man. Braun Strowman. And you may want to run away because Braun Strowman, there's a lot of anger in this man. And sometimes I feel like he's angry for no apparent reason. He just wants to beat the living hell out of you, and you're definitely gonna get these hands as Braun Strowman comes out here. There he is, Braun Strowman. Let's get this underway, folks. Keith Lee, Braun Strowman. 2 out of 3 falls. Here we go. Keith Lee trying to clothesline the big man down, but that's not going to do anything. As Braun Strowman drops Keith Lee. Now looking for this gut wrench suplex there. The gut wrench suplex as Keith Lee is in this predicament here, in a submission predicament, and gets out of it really quick. Remember, it's 2 out of 3 falls, so this is a totally different ball game here. You get 1 fall early, you know, your opponent can find themselves in hot water right here. And that chop in the corner, and that sends down the big man in Braun Strowman. And a headbutt to Braun Strowman. I don't know how much of these moves are doing anything to Braun, but nonetheless, Keith Lee is trying. And a jawbreaker on Braun. Keep the big man down. Keep him down. The more you can keep him down, the better off it's going to be. The better off Keith is going to be here. And Braun Strowman just firing back here on Keith Lee. Now, some of you right now may be thinking right now that Keith Lee does not have a chance. But I promise you, after the matches that I'd seen with him and Ciampa, I can tell you there's so much heart in this man. Perhaps way too much. As Braun Strowman looks to get the first fall early on Keith Lee. But Keith Lee gets out of that Lion Tamer submission. And another jawbreaker sends Braun Strowman down. Keith Lee just rolling with the punches, trying to figure out what he needs to do to get this man down not once but twice as the referee gets run over. Oh, and a shot to Braun Strowman. Got him down to one knee. But Jesus, I can't talk today. But Braun Strowman just sends Keith Lee down. Referee got to get in position here. 1, 2. Looking to get the first fall, and Keith Lee kicked out at 2. Braun can't believe what he just seen. And now Braun looked to get the first fall with a power slam, but Keith Lee comes back with a drop kick. Oh, no. Oh, my. Lifting up the big man. And dropped him. Looking to get the first fall here, and Braun kicked out at 2. Oh, and what a right hand of Braun Strowman. Strowman in a world of hurt as that elbow busted him clean wide open. But Braun Strowman lifted him up. All the blood rushing to Keith Lee's head as he goes down. Now this is exactly what Braun needs here. Braun runs over Keith Lee. Back body drop there to Keith Lee. And now Braun Strowman with a spine buster. Strowman now. Strowman lifting up the big man and now getting him down again. I guess we may not bask in Keith Lee's glory in a right hand of his own, and now Keith Lee is busted open. Both men busted open as a gut-wrench suplex sends down Keith Lee again. And now Braun Strowman with a power slam onto Keith Lee. 1, 2, 3, and Braun has the first fall in this match. But Keith Lee is not going to stop there. He still has time. But he wasted a little bit too much trying to get himself pumped up, and he gets dropped again by Braun Strowman. And another shot, another right hand. And he just gets run over. Every time Keith gets up, it seems like he's just getting run over by like a semi-truck. But Keith Lee is not going to give up. A spirit bomb. 1, 2 to tie it up. And Braun kicked out. Keith Lee is beside himself. But Keith Lee knows that he needs to pull out all the stops here against Braun, and he's going to do it. Bask in his glory. Keith Lee, 1, 2 to tie it up, and Braun again kicked out. Keith Lee desperately trying to fight back here. Headbutt to Braun. Doesn't seem to faze him at all, though. But Braun Strowman constantly firing back with the right hands of his own, and it seems like it's 10 times more strength, but Keith Lee just tossed Braun Strowman. Uh-oh. Again, Keith Lee's got him up for the Spirit Bomb. 1, 2, and Braun Strowman again kicked out. But Keith Lee knows he can't stop. He's got to keep going. No matter how damn hard it's going to be, he's got to keep going. As he lifts up Braun Strowman. And he sends him down. 1, 2, 3, and Keith Lee tied it up. And another shot to the back of the head of Keith Lee as Braun Strowman has got to be really irritated right now. Braun Strowman lifting him up. Oh my. Braun Strowman is pissed off. Braun Strowman, oh my! Keith Lee just literally flipped over Braun Strowman. And just like that, Keith Lee's back in the driver's seat again. As he gets dropped again with a Spirit Bomb. 1, 2, and Braun kicked out. As he awaits Braun to get to his feet. I don't know how of a good idea that is. He should have taken advantage. He should have taken advantage when he had the chance. But Keith Lee trying to come back desperately. Desperately trying to come back here. As Keith Lee looking for the basket of glory again. But Braun Strowman with the reversal. Braun Strowman power slam to Keith Lee to win the match. 1, 2, and Keith Lee got the shoulder up at 2.5. Braun cannot believe it. The amount of punishment Keith Lee has taken in this match. You know, granted, both of these men are big in stature, but look at the size difference between Keith Lee and Braun. The size difference alone should terrify you. Should terrify anybody. But for damn sure, it hasn't terrified Keith Lee by one bit as Braun Strowman throwing caution to the wind there, trying to go off the top rope. Was unsuccessful there. As Keith Lee now just trying to just do whatever he can. But he might not be able to here. As he might be just trying to... He's tiring himself out with every move that he's trying to do. As Braun Strowman has to go back now. The referee's got to check on Keith, make sure he can continue here. He may leave this match with an injury. But Keith Lee is still battling. Braun is still battling. But it may not be worth it. I don't think it's worth it for Keith Lee to put himself through all this punishment. And for what? This isn't for a title. This is simply the main event. But granted, I say all the time that every match means something here in RCW. That no match goes unnoticed. But, you know, you have to think. How ballsy is Strowman, as Strowman is going to try and get Keith Lee to tap out to the bear hug here. He's tapped out so many people with this submission. But Keith Lee, desperately fighting with every fiber in his being. Oh, and that elbow. Keith Lee. Keith Lee gonna lift him up. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, and Keith Lee somehow wins this match. Somehow battles back enough to win this match. The heart of this man. Look at him. He's all bloodied up to all hell. And somehow he still comes back. Still has the balls to fight. And he defeats Braun Strowman. My God. What a match. What a main event, folks. Thank you guys for joining me for this impromptu redo of our show today. I apologize, but it appears that we had no disconnection issues. Hopefully. We fixed we fixed some of the issues going on with the bit rate, and I initially thought it was, maybe Twitch, but I tried to, look up some things and tried to figure out what was going on. And we got it. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will catch you guys on another episode of RCW. The next episode should be the RCW Freefall pay-per-view, and that should be on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I may start around 1:30. Sometimes I start around 1:30, 1:30, 2 p.m. So around there. Make sure to keep up to date with everything RCW here on my Discord. Definitely join my Discord, as it is a huge part of the community. It's the best place to reach me, as well as you can reach me down in the panels there on my Twitter as well, if that floats your boat there too. Whatever floats your boat, whatever's better for you. I just like to throw that out there. You can contact me there. You can also contact everyone else that is in my wrestling community. We're all wrestling fans, and we're all good people. We all try to be good people. We need more of that in this world now. More than ever. So, please feel free to join that as well. Try and join my YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exclusive content. Outside of streaming, all my RCW episodes go on there as well. But outside of streaming, you will find awesome series like the Outlaw World Tour, where I take the Outlaws around the world from wrestling promotion to wrestling promotion with storylines similar to what you see in RCW, just everywhere else. Impact Wrestling, AEW, CZW, ROH, you name it. It's not off the table. As well as the My Career Universe modes with Brian Outlaw and Luna Outlaw, where I take them around the wrestling world. Those two, brother and sister, taking them around the wrestling world right now. And pretty much any other wrestling content that tickles your fancy will be on there. So if you enjoy whatever you see here, you're definitely going to enjoy everything that you see on my YouTube channel. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me today. I know we've had quite a few connection issues, that kind of thing, but we are back, and we are better here. Thank you guys, and I will catch you guys next time.